Hi, everyone. Carter Krishnaiyer here for Beyond the 90. And we are at a very, very, very tough juncture in the collective bargaining agreement negotiations in the USL Championship. And I think things are not progressing the way anyone would like to see them progress, unless you want to see a work stoppage, unless you are actively rooting for chaos. So as a result, and I wrote about this on Friday, let me just, before we get to what I want to address today in regards to this, let me remind people of where we are. We are at a stage where there is a massive gulf in terms of licensing, agreement on licensing, where there is and the dollar amount connected with that. There is a gap in terms of what the minimum base salaries would be. There is a gap in terms of the idea of whether contracts need to be 10 months or 12 months in length. There is a gap in terms of whether all players should be provided with health care, and whether there would be a league plan for that, or whether it's just a mandate put on individual clubs, which might be the compromise here, because I think there are some individual clubs who say we have a competitive advantage because we give a good healthcare plan. Other clubs don't give healthcare at all. So there's that, and then there is also now the poison pill, as I call it. The absolute poison pill, which moves us not where we were flatlined, but where I think we might be moving backwards, which is management says management says they would like the opportunity to take what are guaranteed contracts in writing and allow clubs the ability to terminate arbitrarily, effectively terminate arbitrarily. I know if I say it without saying, putting some sort of caveat on it, I'm going to get all sorts of comments from the league and from some of the clubs that may be advocating for this position, and it's not every club by any means. That where there would be an unlimited number of not mutual terminations; those would still stay with the number that we had in the last CBA, but effectively this other tool, which would be arbitrary cancellation of a contract, of a guaranteed contract, where maybe the player would get 20 cents on the dollar for the compensation for the rest of their contract, or if that. So that's a poison pill. And that was not something that was being talked about in October and November, from what I can report. Now, there may have been some undertones of it, but there was no clear discussion of that. So that's a poison pill. And so as this thing continues to be a mess, but USL makes the Division I announcement of the USL Premier, just the name of the league and how many teams are going to be in it, nothing more substantive than that. And of course, I have reported also that this whole Division I thing was the original grenade dropped into negotiations a year ago that stalled everything. Things were progressing logically, and quite frankly, the things I outlined at the beginning of this conversation, the gaps right now between management and the players, those were the same gaps that existed a year ago that would have logically been solved if and there would have been maybe meeting halfway if the negotiations had gone along the normal trajectory of which it would. But by lobbing this D1 bomb in the room and the bomb of promotion and relegation, everything stopped for months. That is the reality, whether you want to believe it or not. That is the reality as I see it and as I can report it from talking to dozens of people around the league, both players and both players and non-players. Let's just put it that way, because technical staff is included in this conversation. And the technical staffs are, of course, very much caught in the middle when we have these sort of labor disputes, as they are in any labor dispute in sports. So then let's go beyond that for a minute. Let's talk about the retort I've been getting from some of y'all this week, which is, Why is this a big deal anymore? Now that we know they're doing Pro REL since they've announced the USL Premier, Pro REL is the panacea. It'll solve everything. We don't have to worry about this. Why are the players haggling over pennies? Promotion and relegation is going to make this bigger than ever. I'm a promotion and relegation advocate. I think my record speaks for itself on that. Even if there's some people out there like Ted Westervelt, who is the only person I've ever had to block in my life on Twitter, by the way. Now, I probably should have blocked about 100 or 200 people who have been abusive or been nasty, but to me, that's just comes with the territory. If you're on social media and you put out your opinions and you don't expect pushback and you don't expect to be kind of cyberbullied, then maybe you should go do something else with your life. You just got to be tough about this. But the only guy I've ever actually had to block was Ted. Even though I think Ted and I agree on 90% of stuff. Because he was just so over the top. If you think promotion and relegation is going to solve the current labor situation in USL, you're out of your mind. I'm just going to come out and say that. Because there is not the fundamentals, the infrastructure fundamentals with this league structure at the moment, especially if they're looking to nickel and dime players for a longer term CBA, to where promotion and relegation is going to do what you all think it's going to do. Unless you don't care about the actual labor, but you just want your club to be able to go up and down and do it on a shoestring. Okay, if that's your position and that's why you say Pro REL will solve everything, fair play to you. Fair play. Because, yeah, it'll solve everything then if players don't have health care and their compensation is $38,000 a year, which is not even really a living wage in parts of this country at this point. Let's be honest about it. The cost of living has gone through the roof. Working people are really feeling the squeeze in all industries at the moment. That's not meant to be a political statement. That's a statement of reality. Just look around. I know a lot. I know there are some people who are football fans or soccer fans who maybe have trust funds or whatever, and they don't understand this. And I've gotten some of that feedback during this labor negotiation, which is very frustrating. But trust me, and trust your neighbor, trust your friends, trust your coworkers. Things are not great right now. But I'm not here to have a discussion about cost of living. I want to have a discussion about promotion and relegation because we need promotion and relegation. It's going to improve player development. It's going to make clubs more relevant in their communities. It's going to increase investment over time. It is going to give everybody an equal opportunity, or at least the theory of an equal opportunity. Open systems are more meritorious than closed systems. The crony capitalism of the closed system of American franchise sports does not appeal to me and does not belong in this sport, in my opinion. Full stop. And I know everybody's feeding at the trough in American franchise sports. All the owners are making lots of money. But is it really an open, meritorious competition? I don't believe so. This is why I really don't watch American professional sports. I'm not a free market ideologue. I mean, I'm not Milton Friedman or someone like that running around saying, "Oh, everything must be free market, everything must be open," and I don't like the socialism or crony capitalism, whatever you want to characterize it of American professional sports. But it doesn't appeal to me because to me it's just like they're inner office scrimmages. They're just kind of I never understand. I can't get my head around the NFL where there's one major league in a sport and it's just like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. So that's my view. So I'm a Pro REL advocate. I'm an open system advocate. I'm an advocate for Omaha, Nebraska having the same opportunities as New York City. I'm an advocate for Spokane having as much opportunity as Chicago. But the fundamentals of the USL are not right now. Okay, in order to make Pro REL work properly, you have to have a decent base of compensation. You have to have a stable infrastructure. You have to have clubs that are not pinching pennies on things like academies and player development. You have to have clubs that are giving health care to employees and to their labor, to their workers, to their players. And you have to have a system in my opinion, where there are guarantees for players, including contract language if a team gets relegated or a team gets promoted. There are certain triggers if there's increased revenue coming in. And then there has to be more solid, stable revenue sources for USL. Now, I think all of this will happen naturally if they get this CBA in order, if they give us some real kind of timeline on how they're going to build this. It's not going to happen like a magic wand. I know a part of the dispute in the 2018 U.S. soccer presidential election was Eric Ronaldo thought you could wave a magic wand and you could have promotion and relegation. Kyle Martino gave out a very thoughtful 8-year plan, and that wasn't good enough for the Zealots. It's like, oh my gosh, 8 years. Oh, we should have Pro Rel now. Guess what? 8 years from 2018, February of 2018, it's February 2026. It'd be happening now. And he had a whole plan of how to wind down single entity and all that stuff. I give Kyle a lot of credit. I love Eric's enthusiasm, and he's a good guy for the cause, but it was not very practical. And the practicality ended up hurting Martino. But guys, I just want to stress this. I'm a pro-rel advocate. We need promotion and relegation. I'm excited USL's doing it. It is not the solution to the current labor problem. Okay? I've had more people tell me in the last couple of days it's the solution to the current labor problem. And now suddenly, because USL Premier has been announced, they're not concerned anymore about the labor situation. They're like, oh, everybody should just patch it up and play under the existing CBA, because once 28 rolls around, it's going to be so much money rolling in. Everybody's going to get a piece of it. That's not how it works. Simple as that. And I also have an issue with USL continuing to play on a calendar that's going to be misaligned with the top league in this country, because whether you like it or not, MLS is the top league in this country. If they're playing on one calendar and the leagues that are not quite at the same level are playing on another calendar, I think that's a problem for the leagues that are not quite at the same level in terms of transfer windows, in terms of player loans. But that's a whole nother issue. To get Pro-Rel right, we got to get the CBA right first. And we've got to get the infrastructure right in the next few years. You get one opportunity at this, probably. USL is snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. If they can't get this labor dispute solved properly, and it will not be the fault of the players or the players' union. Just going to go on the record and say that. If they're serious about promotion and relegation, if they're serious about Division I, the stuff that the players are asking for is very, very basic by that standard. Now, if they're not serious about that, I think we're finding out now that maybe they're not. Then, okay, if we're talking about a long-term championship as a minor league, then maybe what the players are asking for in terms of professionalization is too much. But they're reacting to USL's rhetoric and to the situation at certain clubs who do have D1 ambitions. So again, we can get more into that next time, because the negotiations aren't going to resume until Wednesday, and I'm sensing we're going to be doing a lot of this in the next few weeks. A lot of this. A lot of hand-holding about this. Pro-Rel is not the nirvana. It's not the magic bullet that's going to solve all this. You have to get this stuff right before you do Pro-Rel. And that's it. Happy February, everybody. Groundhog Day is a day away, and hopefully, well, it's freezing here in Florida, believe it or not. Hit freezing temperatures. USL Super League matches last night were pretty were interesting, obviously. So anyway, stay warm, everybody. It's a particularly cold time, and we'll be talking again soon on this subject.